We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Scholars of Wrestling. Well, this week has proven one thing, gentlemen. That Dean Ambrose apparently thinks Seth Rollins is now Mr. Potato Head. And now we can declare ourselves the real three-man band of professional wrestling.
We're a three-man band!
Everyone else is fired.
Because everyone else, well, at least one of everyone, one is still here. One of everyone else is still here, but the rest
and it's
are gone.
Wendy from Wendy's.
Wendy,
can't bring back again.
It's never gone. It's still in our minds, planted.
Just when I was trying to push it away. Whatever. Who the hell are we?
We are the Scholars of Wrestling. We are.
Who are you?
Let's see. I'm trying to make this sound good. I'm building it up. I'm building it up. SOW, baby.
Alrighty then. Beware of dust. He's obviously had too much.
I didn't have enough. You're the one that's going on the dust
I'm Jeff.
high.
I'm the cute one.
No, don't do
I'm
that.
Brian. I'm not, since he sent his hellacious beasts after me.
No, you're the douchey one, Brian.
If you don't know who I am, you should be sad. I'm not going to give my name because... Alright, I'm Tarek. Hi, everybody.
I knew people listening.
He saw me leaning in and had to get it out before I said something that he was going to regret later.
No. I saw you were giving me them puppy dog eyes. You're going to give the name. Okay, I can't say no to you.
Yeah, we have names because we have jobs, unlike some people we all know and hopefully love.
Well, maybe a couple of them I did love. What'd you do?
Don't worry about it.
What did you do?
My bottle cap is gone.
Oh.
Don't make us wish you well in your future endeavors.
You can't. This show would be nothing without me.
Idiot.
Yeah, you're right. We're not paying you anyway.
Exactly. So, yeah.
All right.
Shall I go down the list of people who did end up losing their jobs?
You may. And if you haven't heard, there are 10 people that got released by WWE. Oh, no. We're going to lose some faces that rarely show up on TV, except maybe 2 who were on TV on a regular basis, which was the surprising part on me. Jeff, why don't you name those names?
Name number 1.
Name those names.
Mark Harris. A.K.A. I think...
A.K.A. the referee. Who cares? Moving on.
Not just that. The referee that apparently nobody liked. Who, even backstage, from what I've read, he was just not a favorite referee. He apparently kept missing cues during matches and all that.
That's the first I've ever heard of that. Honestly, this one really took me by surprise. Like, that was even included on the talent list.
I don't know which referee it is, though. I just read about what happened. I don't know which referee is this.
There's only like 2 referees' names that I know.
Earl Hebner and Mike Chioda?
No, Mike Chioda and Little Nate.
Charles Robinson.
Yes.
Charles Robinson will not be talked about on this show.
Everybody else is just like that dude in the shirt.
Yeah, really. Honestly,
except the one that always reffed Divas matches. There was always that one guy.
Good for him.
Wait, I thought that was him.
Was that him?
Yeah, the one who would always referee the Divas matches.
Maybe he got a little handsy during the matches. You know what I mean? That's why they released him.
In all seriousness, now, if anything we talked about, whether he got handsy in the Divas matches or he just wasn't well liked backstage, that could be the only thing I can think of. Because really, if we're talking about general talent here, you don't normally hear about people or WWE releasing referees. That's a relatively unusual occurrence, or at least not the kind of thing that people often pay attention to.
Unless it's Earl Hebner.
Unless they're a big name like Earl Hebner, which is very few and far between in the referee world. But still, again, Mark Harris, the fact that we even needed to discuss who he was, I feel kind of bad for saying this, because Mark, wherever you are, I'm sorry, you just will not be missed very much. You did not stand out in the crowd.
The ultimate verdict, no care.
that brings up an interesting point. Where is this guy going to go from here?
Oh,
Wrestlers are one thing, but this guy...
Walmart!
He'll probably... No, if he's going to ref anywhere, he's going to be reffing in the school gyms and the very minor independents. Because if what we're hearing is true about missing cues and all that,
and apparently he was
in the Divas matches, and
also
all that noise.
being very like vocal with the crowd, like negative vocal.
Exactly. He's the WWE's got to blacklist him and wrestling in general has got to blacklist him for like TNA and ROH and all that noise. So he's probably going to be, if he's going to stay as a referee, he's going to have to go to, like, the very minor independents or, like, the school gymnasium
shows.
I'd be shocked if that even came to pass. Just, honestly, I think you were right the first
In
time.
other words, go to Walmart, you'll probably make more money.
I was like, wow, I was joking about Walmart, but really?
Seriously, Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart, Subway, you'll probably make more money.
Okay.
That's actually...
Moving on.
Next name.
Next name... And loser number 2, actually, who's not actually a loser because I actually like this guy, Yoshitatsu.
Well,
he got released.
He's honestly not a very big loss. I like him. I like him as a wrestler, but I haven't seen him on TV. We're gonna see a lot of this in these releases. I haven't seen this guy on TV for like 2-3 years. Straight up, actually wrestling in a match, maybe in like a backstage segment or whatever, every now and then. But it's one of those. Seriously, it's about time. Let the guy find work in Japan or on the independent scene, and just you're not doing anything. He's not making any money because he's not wrestling any matches for the WWE. So let him out.
That's kind of the safe bet for most of these guys that were released. Most of them were just guys who you never see on the show, except for 2 particular names, but we'll save those 2 best for last.
I'll save those 2 for last. But this one, as far as Yoshitatsu is concerned, I am just really disappointed on how the WWE handled him. Just even right from the get-go, it seems like he didn't really have much going for him. We all knew that, I think, at least I hope we all knew, that someone like Yoshitatsu definitely had a lot to bring to the ring. But as soon as they gave him that crazy music and the super happy anime face character, that did him no favors in the long run. I know on like Superstars or whatever, there was a really brief time when he gave him a more serious gimmick, where they give him like a crazy face war paint and like a kabuki mask, and I honestly thought that looked really, really cool. Like, I would definitely pay to see that Yoshitatsu.
And then you remember,
and then
it's on Superstars.
Yeah, and then maybe a month later,
he disappeared again.
It was all just swept under the rug, like it never happened. And I remember being really disappointed in that.
I remember that too. I actually was looking forward to seeing where they were going to go with that particular character for Yoshitatsu, and it actually seemed like, okay, now they're actually going to put him in the mid-card, kind of similar to where Kofi Kingston is just be an additional to that, just being the guys who are mid-carders for life.
But solid mid-carders.
But exactly, solid mid-carders. That just didn't happen. There you go, he just disappeared off the face of the earth again, only showing up on like YouTube shows, like the JBL Cole show, well, maybe once or twice, or whatever show that they had on their YouTube channel. I don't watch any of their YouTube shows. Other than that, you didn't have anything for most of these guys.
Yeah, at least for Yoshitatsu, it's a shame because he's just one of those guys where you hear about him, they look, at least on paper, really, really interesting, but then they just don't do anything with him. And it's just really sad.
Next name.
He's getting teary-eyed.
Just move on to the next name, fool. Try and calm yourself down.
There's a couple names on this list I'm going to get really teary-eyed over, and honestly, this next one is one of them. Evan Bourne.
I can't get teary-eyed over this one because he's been injured off and on for the. You think Rey Mysterio is injury prone?
Evan Bourne.
At least he's been on the TV. At least he's been on TV in the last 3 years without injuries. Evan Bourne could have been something, but his body just—it wasn't anything that the WWE did. His body just wouldn't let him do what he did. His high risk
was too much of a high risk.
Apparently was too much high risk because his body just couldn't. His body just can't handle it. He went out, when was it, 2009?
About.
With that knee injury? Okay, and we haven't seen him since. He would go to the NXT or FCW at the time, and he'd be in training to come back, and then he'd hurt himself again. And I guess at this point, the WWE just had enough and was like, we can't justify keeping you on the payroll anymore. Because every time you try to come back, you get hurt again.
Not to mention all of his drug violations.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those. I feel bad that we don't get to see the talent anymore, but there's really nothing you could do at that point. At this point, the WWE was smart to get rid of them, to get rid of him at this point.
The only
time.
Even though I understand why they would, it's still really depressing for me because after he was released, one fact was brought to my attention. He was brought in at the same exact time as CM Punk. He was like a big independent name when, again, CM Punk was one of the first of the modern era to really be recruited just as he was from the independent scene. And then when Matt Sydal was brought in as Evan Bourne, everyone who recognized him was like, whoa, this guy, if they give him half a chance, is going to be spectacular. And sure enough, he took off with the mainstream fans. He had a good following for himself. In a way...
He had a fun tag team with Kofi, Air Boom.
Air Boom. I loved Air Boom.
Air Boom was fun.
I would... what's the word? I would compare him to Jeff Hardy at the beginning of his WWE career. Big with the fans, had a flashy moveset, high risk, was amazing to watch, and then he'd get on a microphone.
I don't even remember him on a microphone.
Or even the backstage, that crappy little interview segment where they do that little box in the corner of the screen, and he'd be talking, and I'd just be like, and then he'd start talking. And then you just be like,
don't.
No, stop it.
Stop the talking.
Stop it. Just wrestle. Okay, that's the difference between him and CM Punk. Okay? CM Punk had a compelling character to go along with his flashy moveset and his crisp wrestling. Evan Bourne, Matt Sydal, basically had the flashy moveset. He had the good wrestling ability. The character was and that's why he never reached the heights that he could have before the injuries and the drug violations started to pile up. And once that happened, once those things happened, it was basically done from there.
Yeah, unfortunately, again, I touched upon this really briefly with you, Fool, before we started recording. At least in Evan Bourne's case, for someone like him, he's still going to be around. Whether or not he goes wrestle somewhere else, or, like I mentioned before, Jeff Jarrett has his independent league coming up.
I can see Evan Bourne in that.
Right.
Or I can see him going to TNA when he's fully healed.
I think TNA is bleeding money too much as is
to
bring in Matt Sydal.
I was about to say.
Yeah, well, remember, TNA are stupid, so you never know.
Yeah, but they're stupid and there's not listening to the dollars stupid. So.
Moving on.
Next name, is another one I am really depressed about for obvious reasons. Brodus Clay.
The Funkadactyl is no more.
The Funkasaurus.
The
The Funkadactyls are still around.
And that
Well, they're probably not
depresses
going
me
to.
too.
They're probably not going to be called the Funkadactyls anymore. They'll probably just go by their regular names.
Yeah, I think they're still going to be.
You
called
think
the
they're still gonna-
Funkadactyls.
Because without the Funkasaurus, what's the?
It's true, but you can't take away. All they do is dance. They come out, dance. Naomi wrestles good. Cameron wrestles crappy, and so I say keep the Funkadactyls as the Funkadactyls.
Well, forget the Funkadactyls.
But either way, Brodus Clay, okay, could have been a very good badass. Which is what it seemed like they were going for when he turned away from the Funkasaurus. Okay, but then Xavier Woods and R-Truth beat him
Multiple times.
and then he was just gone.
He wasn't gone. He just went back to NXT.
And at that point,
And then that's point.
at that point, it's like it's over. He's done.
That was
That's
just
like-
such a shame.
If they're not gonna let him be a badass on TV, on Raw or SmackDown, you're done.
For me, I didn't think Brodus Clay was going to go anywhere when he was being the bodyguard for Alberto Del Rio. And there was one particular moment that happened where Ricardo Rodriguez and Del Rio were talking about like something happening, and then Brodus Clay tried to say something, and they just turned and looked at him like, "Why are you talking?" And then they just ignore him, continue what they were saying. For me, that was when that's WWE's reaction to Brodus Clay.
Well, also let's face
And then
it, that
they
was
brought him
during
back as a-
NXT, right?
Yeah, that was when
that
he
was
was
right after
Yeah, that was his
NXT.
when it was after that.
In the
Around
immediate aftermath of NXT, he started pairing
least
up with
season.
Alberto Del Rio, and then that's where all that came about.
and then they brought him back. At first, they were building him up as this badass monster. We're
The
gonna
Funkasaurus.
we're gonna
The
think,
biggest swerve
and then
of
the
all
biggest
time.
swerve. Thank you, Road Dogg, for that idea.
And I remember you guys were, at least you were there, Fool. I think you
I
were there.
was.
Yes.
We were all there when that
As
first
soon as
happened.
they announced the Funkasaurus Brodus Clay, I just started freaking out. It was like, this is the best gimmick. Because I even when I first debuted, he had such an unusual look to him, Brodus Clay, that I really wanted to like him. And then when he gave him I'm a sucker for like tie-dye and funky gimmicks. I like that kind of stuff. So when they brought out the Funkasaurus Brodus Clay with the Funkadactyls and all that, it was like, oh, this is the best thing ever. It's so hype, yeah.
And then they gave him sweet tea.
And that ruined everything.
And that was the beginning of the end for Brodus Clay.
Talk about anything. I'm surprised that Tensai, or whatever you want to call him, is still around. Albert Tensai.
Isn't he
Albert
a
Tensai.
commentator for NXT?
Yeah, he's a commentator now. Now that's one I definitely did not see.
Well, he's a good talker.
Remember, okay, it's not confirmed that these are the final releases. There's still a chance that you'll get your Tensai release. Okay?
I don't want that though. That's even worse. But typically, don't these releases always happen either during the course of the entire week or just within like the span of one single day? Over a span.
I think
It's about the span of a week.
I was going to say, I think it's
Yeah.
a week.
Yeah, I still don't think that it's going to happen. These are probably going to be all the releases we're going to get for right now.
Well, if they were going to release any more names,
least this year.
Who is there?
Exactly. They basically got rid of the Jobber Squad.
Heath Slater.
No, Heath Slater. Heath Slater is a jobber, okay, but apparently
He's good enough to keep this job.
he's good enough to get the crap beaten out of him by all the legends. So they
And
need
Lita.
that. They need that around. They need him around to just get beat down. And I don't know why they had to get. Yeah, go.
Well, anyway,
We'll take care. We'll worry about those
Yeah,
two when we
anyway.
actually have the big names that came out
honestly,
of this.
as far as Brodus Clay's future, just to round him out, he's another name I can definitely see going on with Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, me too.
Even though he's got a look that I think Japan would like, because they like those big monsters, he'd certainly be a lot more agile than some of the other big guys they've got over there.
I thought I heard that he had signed with PWG.
Yeah, he has.
Brodus
I actually
Clay.
did read that.
Brodus Clay.
There you go.
Brodus Clay, almost immediately.
Yeah.
After the news came out.
I remember
He went straight
about
to
that
it.
too. You're right.
After
you're right,
after the news of the release came out, like an hour maybe after the news of his release came out, news came together that him and one more person signed with PWG.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I guess. Honestly, I don't know about you guys, but I could go for a PWG show in my near future. What do you say?
I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
sure.
remember, he's not gonna be dancing. So
I'm still gonna chant Funkasaurus. I don't care what you say, unless he gets
Yeah.
in my face and threatens to kill me. Somebody call my mama.
Funk is on a roll.
On a roll after Jeff. Jeff, run! Run, he's gonna
Jeff!
kill you!
He's gonna eat you.
Funk is on a roll.
Alright, next name.
Okay.
Which number are we on right now? I
We
lost
are
track.
on number 4.
This is number
Brodus was number 4. Number 5 does not really surprise me. Camacho.
Do we really need to say anything about Camacho?
I honestly
really?
keep forgetting about Camacho even existing.
Who?
Once Hunico became Hunico, Camacho was expendable.
Yeah.
So here we go. There it is.
I honestly don't. I barely remember who Camacho is.
I don't even
Camacho was when Hunico was Hunico.
It was after the fake Sin Cara.
He was that dude who was. He was that dude who was riding the bike that Hunico was standing on.
That's the only thing I remember about the guy.
He's just the driver.
Yeah, he was the driver. He tagged with Hunico for a while, and that's it. I don't remember a single thing about him. I don't
Did that
know what
even
his real
last
name
long?
is. No.
On TV, it lasted about a month. But
I was gonna say.
I was going to say 2 months.
Then they went like NXT and Superstars, and we never. And this was back when we didn't have the network, so it wasn't easily accessible. So it's like we never saw him anywhere afterwards.
Again, given that I really haven't seen too much of him, I really don't know what he's capable of. If he's got a really impressive body of work, hopefully someone in our comment section will be able to say something good about something that Camacho has done.
Good luck.
I don't think there is anything because I had never heard of the guy before he came into the.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know anything about him. I don't know any other names he used to wrestle under off the top of my head. So
Something to do.
Yeah, maybe he'll go do a AAA bet down in Mexico if he's reputable enough. I don't know.
Even
It's
if
the only
he's
thing I
not
can think of.
reputable enough, he'll find his way.
I certainly hope so.
Most of these guys will find their way somewhere. Just the referee has to go to Walmart or Subway because they make more money. That's
Speaking
it.
of referees,
yes,
this one really caught me off guard. Teddy Long is gone.
No more tag team matches, player.
No more, because no one can face the Undertaker. Holla,
holla, holla, holla! Get out!
Well, for this one, they've been saying for a while that Teddy Long actually wanted to hang the suit up, go home, enjoy his retirement.
Well, it makes
Holla,
sense.
holla, holla,
because
holla.
It makes sense because once the authority took control over everything, there was no need for. I'm surprised. The only reason Vicky Guerrero is not on this list is because she's a Guerrero. Is because she's Guerrero's wife, okay? Because, like, hey, once the authority came in, Vicky Guerrero and Teddy Long are expendable. And at that point,
You saw what happened to Brad Maddox.
Teddy Long probably wanted to retire. They were probably like,
he did.
Just let us go through your contract or whatever.
And that was it. That actually was it.
No more tag team matches. No
more
more
impromptu tag team matches.
Impromptu
Straight up tag team match.
No more impromptu tag team matches. No more facing the Undertaker and Kane. Play it.
Okay, so the big question I've got is, obviously with some of these other wrestlers, there's generally a whole bunch of other indies or other promotions overseas that you can go to. What's Teddy Long gonna do?
He's gonna
enjoy retirement.
And stay at home.
He's gonna enjoy retirement.
He's done. He's out.
Don't ask me why I think this, because I don't know where this came from. It just popped into my head. My gut reaction is if he's going to do anything at all,
He's going to join the Scholars of Wrestling?
no, we have a budget of precisely 25 cents. It's not gonna happen. What I do think he's going to do, if anything, I think I can see him being the type of guy that like open up a restaurant or something.
A restaurant?
Mean Gene did it, and he's not even retired.
Jim Ross did it.
Jim Ross did it.
Did Teddy Long have some food background that I don't know about?
You don't have to have a food background. You just have to have money at this point.
Hulk Hogan didn't. I just did Pasta Mania, which lasted for like 6 months. So I don't know.
I can see it.
Mean Gene has a burger set up. I mean, even in Memphis, I've seen menus for Jerry the King Lawler burger.
I can see it, and I would seek it out.
Find out. Where is he now?
And do I even need to bring up the famous Abdullah the Butcher House of Chinese Food and Ribs?
No.
No.
I would actually eat there, but
No,
that's a whole other thing. Yeah,
I would eat there, but I'd be scared because I might get a fork in my skull.
Yeah.
Free hepatitis with every order.
Exactly.
That was bad. I'm sorry. I apologize for that one. Boo.
Boo earns.
Hepatitis jokes. Boo.
Well, then again, if you take one look at Abdullah the Butcher and hear that man opened up a restaurant, it's like, well, it's got to be good.
I can see it because he's a big guy. He knows his food.
Yeah.
No.
So,
There you go.
Oh,
boy.
Oh, God.
Okay, I think we can move on.
Yeah.
We're done here.
Yeah, you got... No.
Okay, next name on the list. I'm honestly surprised this guy lasted as long as he has. Kurt Hawkins.
You know what he's going to do after this? Continue his Twitter war with Mark Henry.
No, he's the other one who signed with PWG.
Kurt Hawkins, really?
Kurt Hawkins signed with PWG
Yeah, he did.
while calling Mark Henry an idiot.
Yeah.
Which basically, hey, 10 people got released from their jobs today, and you're going to post a picture going, 18 years in the company, ha 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 ha. Basically, I don't know whether he knew.
No, he actually responded.
known.
He responded to the Twitter message saying he had no idea that this was happening.
Okay, because if he knew, then yeah, bad move, buddy.
Yeah, really.
Asshole move right there. But if he didn't know, it's one of those
Bad timing.
Very bad timing. And Kurt Hawkins had the right to call him out on it if he did know.
Yeah, I really doubt that Mark Henry knew about everything that was going on. He
didn't. He
Mark
had no
Henry's,
idea.
In all seriousness, seems like way too nice of a guy backstage to really pull that kind of maneuver.
And it's also one of those, who the hell is Kurt Hawkins?
Yeah, really.
Seriously.
He had a point, but seriously, again, with all the names on this list...
I remember Trevor Murdoch more than Kurt Hawkins.
Yeah, Trevor Murdoch.
Trevor Murdoch was awesome.
Trevor Murdoch was awesome. Kurt Hawkins...
It's generic.
Yeah, which makes me all the more
When
surprised.
Zack Ryder makes it, okay, and you don't.
I'm trying to talk about Kurt Hawkins, whatever the hell his name is. With all the names on this list, I am really surprised to hear someone like Kurt Hawkins, getting picked up by PWG so quickly out of all the names on this list. Like, Evan Bourne, I could see that. Brodus Clay, I get it, absolutely.
No one's going to sign Evan Bourne right now because of his injuries.
Well, in the future.
Yeah.
But still, it's perplexing. It's perplexing to me.
It's perplexing to me too, because let's think about this, okay? He came in a tag team with Zack Ryder. Okay? And if Zack Ryder makes it to TV and you don't, what does that say about you?
Well, Zack Ryder had woo woo woo, you know it. Kurt Hawkins didn't have Jack. That's what killed him.
Yeah,
ultimately.
he didn't have a character. He didn't have the tenacity that Zack Ryder did. WWE didn't want to put him on TV, but Zack Ryder was like, you know what? Screw that.
I'm putting myself over.
I'm putting myself on TV. Kurt Hawkins didn't do that, and 4 years I haven't seen him on TV. He's another one.
Such a shame. Such a shame.
Is it really?
Yeah, untapped potential? Yeah, it usually is. We'll never know what could have been. Unless he ends up breaking out with some amazing gimmick in the indies down the line, and maybe WWE takes a second look at him. maybe we'll know. But otherwise, he'll just drift off into obscurity.
He was there already.
Eh.
See, this is what talking about Kurt Hawkins has done to me. It is making me tired.
I don't know. Maybe if we end up actually going to a PWG show around these parts, maybe we'll see something.
Well, he'll just not be.
Or he'll
Kurt
be tag
Hawkins.
teaming with Brodus Clay. That'll make you like him more because he's tagging with Brodus Clay.
Again, that's just popularity by association.
Exactly.
Now. Again, that's seriously going to be his legacy.
Kurt Hawkins
sure
is
hope
the Marty
not.
Majetti.
Marty Majetti.
Marty Majetti. You had a little too much
Marty
pixie dust.
Jannetty.
There you go.
What am I doing?
You had it right the first time.
Just breathe.
Okay, speaking of...
Lie down before you hurt yourself.
Okay, now this next one, this probably is the most saddest loss for me personally. This is a tragedy. This is American a loss to America.
I'm hoping it's someone, but if it's
I have a feeling I know who it is.
If it's the other person who it could be, I'm going to slap you.
No, we're not to them yet.
No, do you really know?
Yes,
You know
I know who it is.
Oksana?
My heart aches. My heart aches. Why, Oksana? Why?
This kind of came out of nowhere because she was on TV on Monday getting the crap beat out of her.
By
Yeah.
Alicia Fox.
By Alicia Fox. So you think like maybe she'd have a part in that storyline? No,
it's
God.
it's just embarrass Oksana by pouring whatever crap that Alicia Fox
Bottles of
had.
water.
Was it just water?
It was 2 bottles of water all over Oksana.
Oh, I could see you liking
Jeff
that.
Jeff
had a big
good
smile.
night.
Not that good a night, you sicko. Again, seriously, in all seriousness, not my
I'm actually glad.
desires aside, this is another, in my opinion, a real case of untapped potential. She actually had she had an amazing look. In all seriousness, not just from physical beauty, but she actually looked like a wrestler. She looked like a wrestler turned model, not the other way around, which, as we all know, WWE has a track record for doing.
Very unorthodox look for WWE.
Yeah, she had a real exotic beauty to her. She could go, she could wrestle, which, again, the only reason I can even imagine that she even got released was just because of that one eye injury that she gave to
Naomi.
Naomi. Yeah.
If that was the case, they would have released it when it happened.
Yeah.
Just like when Mr. Kennedy Anderson,
Mr. Anderdy, as I call him.
Anderdy. Yeah.
Anderdy.
injured Randy Orton.
Finger quotes.
Air quotes injured Randy Orton and was immediately sent packing the next day. So I really don't think that has anything to do with it. I'm stumped. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was just they didn't have any ideas for her, which is stupid.
But then
because
that
they just gave a potential idea for her.
exactly. And then I don't know. This one is just I don't know.
That excuse for not releasing Oksana really applies to just about every single woman on the Divas roster right now. I mean, look at it. In just if these releases took place a month ago, Alicia Fox would have been gone in Oksana's place, guaranteed. But no, they just had to give her something crazy to do, stuff to throw around.
Which bores me to tears.
Yeah.
I hate this whole thing with Alicia Fox. It's a waste of time.
I understand it. But really, I don't know. Maybe history will shed some more light as time goes on as to why Oksana got released. Other than that, this is a loss for, in my eyes. And in all seriousness, I liked seeing Oksana do her thing, wrestling and otherwise. And hey, I'm being 100% serious. I'm just calling it what it is. I mean, obviously, it's not like for a lack of being able to go. I can definitely see her show up in Shimmer in the very near future. Hopefully, I hope she does, so we can see some really killer ladies matches on the independent scene. And I will, when Shimmer comes back to Jersey, I will gladly buy a ticket. You agree with me, right?
I agree.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know you guys were just stunned in your momentary silence. I can tell you agree with it.
We just thought you were going to keep going with that.
Oh, I could talk about Oksana all
Exactly.
day.
But
That's
let's not. Let's move on.
Let's move on to. Here's another one. That's sort of. It's not shocking to me, but it kind of is. But for totally other reasons. JTG.
I'm surprised he stayed on this long.
Yeah, Mr. Untouchable, still employed, is finally unemployed.
Here's
Thank
the deal,
God those
okay?
are gone.
Basically, JTG became obsolete in the last year.
I'm sorry, go on.
He became obsolete in the last year because they got Xavier Woods, who can fulfill the role that JTG had, which was basically do nothing, and when you are on TV, lose in 2 minutes. He became obsolete. Now is the time. You are no longer untouchable. See you later.
Wasn't there one bit where he was on Twitter posting that he's never on Raw or anything like that, and then they put him on Raw just to get squashed by someone because of his complaining?
Of course.
If it happens,
Was it actually like for that particular reason? Like if they tried to make it into a storyline, but no one just cared?
I'm sure the whole thing. Whenever wrestlers post on Twitter, okay, you can basically believe that it's part of a storyline. If it has anything to do with wrestling at all, you can believe that it's most likely storyline based. So if JTG was complaining, it was setting up something for Raw, and then he came out for Raw and he got squashed and nobody cared. So they were like, okay, story squashed, get out of here.
Yeah, really, when you describe that, really just my first reaction was this really sounds more like a Zack Ryder thing to do. If he did do something like that, it really did not last very long, or at least the WWE didn't give him the space to do anything like that, which is a real genuine shame because afterwards, again, with someone like JTG, he got sort of a following on the internet for being, Mr. Still Employed after everyone always gets released. Oh, so-and-so got released. Oh, JTG's still employed. Oh, she got released. JTG's still employed. How about that? By the time it really started catching on, like, oh, JTG is untouchable. JTG is awesome. They've forgotten that JTG is around. Now JTG gets released. Now everyone's crying the blues that JTG is gone. Some people actually put together like highlight reels of all of JTG's best moments, and I'll be very honest with you, when I watched it, it really makes me really frustrated that JTG, they never did anything with him. Like, the guy can genuinely go.
The guy beat Chris Jericho.
Yeah, he's got a legit win over Chris freaking Jericho. He earned that. He's genuinely good. I mean, you want to talk about guys who can go pretty much anywhere they want now. With someone with the skills that he has, he can definitely recover from that. He can go pretty much anywhere in the world. I can see him working with Jeff Jarrett. He's definitely got a lot of skills and basically just has a legit shot of winning their world title because he's still a known name. Maybe he'll even go to Japan somewhere. He can pretty much do anything and it would make sense. Again, he may not be making that sweet WWE money, but he's not going to suffer.
No.
No.
And now, let's move on to the two big names that shocked me, at least. I don't know how you guys reacted.
I wasn't shocked about one of them.
Well, okay, I'll give you that one. But for another one,
okay,
this one put me to tears.
Numbers 9 and 10, Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre
led to our joking.
They hindered Jinder! No!
Which led to our joking early at the beginning of the show.
When have they not hindered Jinder lately? I mean, come on.
He's part of 3MB.
No, but I mean, like, now they finally put the hammer down. They hindered Jinder in the worst way they could hinder Jinder.
That's some hindering. Yeah.
Way too much hindering. But this Jinder Mahal, for Jinder Mahal, it's been coming. Okay, he was the third guy in 3MB. if anybody was talking about 3MB, it was about Heath Slater and Drew McIntyre. But Jinder just didn't do anything for me, and he was one note. And this has been coming for a while for Jinder, so I'm not surprised at all about him.
The real surprising fact with it for me was the fact that these guys did good on the last two pre-shows. They had pretty memorable matches, especially the WLC. They had people chanting, "This is awesome." We have tons and tons of 3MB fans with the memes and reason so-and-so to like 3MB. Mick Foley loves them. Mick Foley even said his sadness to the news that 3MB is now gone. He wanted to see them dressed up as each face of Foley, which I would have lost it if that actually happened.
I wish I heard about that.
That would have been
amazing.
That would have been amazing, and it's just really heartbreaking because these guys are on the main show every week. Even more than like with Oksana, who just did the thing with Alicia Fox. These guys were still on the shows every week. So, and they're just in the middle of a rivalry with Los Matadores and El Torito. And if I thought that someone from that group of 5 guys, I wasn't including Hornswoggle and El Torito because they are the main focus of that feud. Surprisingly. If there was two guys that I thought that were gonna be gone, it was Los Matadores, because people are more behind 3MB than Los Matadores.
Yeah.
So this is
at least they were
when they heard
to
that
catch on. Like they were so bad that they were good.
I thought that if they were going to release 2 guys from 3MB, okay, Jinder was always gone.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And I thought they would release Heath Slater because I always thought that they had bigger plans for Drew McIntyre. I thought that at some point they were going to bring him back to where he was before.
The chosen one.
The chosen one. Make him a Heyman guy, something like that. Who knows? But this is the one name on this list that upsets me because Drew McIntyre had so much more to give to the company than what they gave him. And I guarantee you he did not want to do 3MB.
But he went with it.
He did 3MB to the best of his ability.
And we applaud him. And we applaud him.
I distracted you, didn't I?
And we applaud him because he went over the top in trying to get into that role. And he helped make 3MB amazing.
Now, here's the one question I've got. With someone like Drew McIntyre, this question is really more pertinent than I think anyone else on this list that we just spent almost an hour discussing. With Drew McIntyre especially, what on earth went wrong here? He came in with such potential. He had the entire company behind him. We're seeing so much from him. What the heck happened?
He got beaten up by a girl.
Got beaten up by his ex.
It was really more hotel room.
So we got the
and
Tiger
made
Woods
the papers, and they fired Taryn Terrell, who is the girl who beat the crap out of him in the hotel room, and they made Drew McIntyre into
a wuss.
A wuss. I forgot this is a family show.
We're trying. We're certainly trying.
But yeah, wuss. They made him into a little wussy jobber, and
it was always
they made him job for 4 years, which is stupid.
It was just sad because, like we were saying before, we had so much high potential for Drew McIntyre, and when he was in 3MB with Jinder Mahal and Heath Slater, those guys. It just popped into my mind now doing this comparison. They were the Bulk and Skull of WWE.
Bulk and Skull were never that good. I mean, Bulk and Skull were funny, but they were not especially... I phrased that wrong. I'm looking at your face right now. Bulk and Skull were a great, amazing part of the original Power Rangers series.
And
but I do not believe that they are an appropriate analogy for what we saw in Drew McIntyre and
pretty
Jinder
much until they disappeared from Power Rangers in space. The final episode where they finally gained the courage. I recently watched the Linkara
those were great.
Power Rangers review, and what he was saying about Bulk and Skull in particular. Put your laptop down.
But
put it down.
But
Oksana is in the past. We will see her soon.
She will live on.
Go to Shimmer, please.
She will live on in your heart.
Go to Shimmer, Oksana. I'm begging you.
But just seeing how popular I'm talking about the popularity and the fact that these guys were kind of like the losers who tried to be tough, but everyone just ended up loving them just because they were funny.
Oh, that I agree. And again, I just don't think the analogy really matched at first. Mostly because when you think about the whole Bulk and Skull elements, is phony tough guys trying to be cool and tough. When you see guys like Jinder Mahal and someone who's built like Drew McIntyre is, that
I'm not talking about looks.
Yeah,
I'm talking about personalities.
If you look at them, even so, you can imagine him standing up to you like your average Joe on the street and like roughing him up. I
wouldn't want to mess with a Scottish.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with Drew McIntyre.
With a Scottish fella.
But you know what?
Accent. I apologize.
I don't think this is the last time we see Drew McIntyre in WWE.
I was actually going to ask you.
So.
I was actually going to ask you guys. Out of people, there has been plenty of times throughout WWE history where they get fired and get brought back. I was about to say, who do you see this happening more? And you can have more than one option.
The only one I see legitimately having a chance is Drew McIntyre. I would have earlier in his career, I would have said Evan Bourne, but with the drug problems and
constantly getting injured
and the injury proneness, I don't see that anymore. But I think we see Drew McIntyre again. Maybe not soon, but we'll see him in the WWE again.
If anyone's got a shot, I'd say it would either be Drew McIntyre. Actually, I don't know. Unless Drew comes up with some really amazing gimmick on the independent circuit that he didn't really have the time to develop on WWE television, then maybe he'll get invited back.
I miss his theme song.
I don't even know.
It will live on.
I miss this.
Then he'll come back.
I missed his theme song before he came back.
If he doesn't have something to do, then he's never going to come back. If he does, then maybe he will. But if he doesn't come up with anything, I think it's a toss-up for either Brodus Clay or Evan Bourne to come back. Again, if Evan Bourne especially stays clean and injury-free, then maybe he'll come back for one more little run. I think he's popular enough where people will remember him, and even if they don't, a shooting star press or two will definitely remember people.
I don't know. He might
be remembered by the people.
He might be on the Jeff Hardy.
I'm missing the words.
He might be on the Jeff Hardy train with the WWE right now.
I really hope not, because for one, I would definitely love to see Evan Bourne again.
I was gonna say, of everyone on that list, if I had to pick two people, I'm not gonna pick Brodus Clay because from what he's been posting, he's happy that he's out of WWE. He's like, all right, independence, here I come type deal.
Mm-hmm.
If there is anyone who I would want to see come back, who I think have the potential to come back, it is Drew McIntyre and Oksana. Just to make you happy, fool. I actually do see her somehow coming back.
You're back on my good list, fool.
Was I ever on your bad list?
When you're squelching my love for Oksana, yes.
I wasn't squelching.
Yeah,
you're trying to distract us with pictures of Oksana while we're trying to go in explanation.
And they were very nice pictures.
They were very nice pictures.
See, I'm just giving you exhibits of what we lost in this transaction.
But we're past that point, so you're distracted.
I'm not.
Shame on you.
I'm still in mourning here. Leave me alone.
Okay,
sit down.
So let's move.
All right.
On to Raw.
So let's talk about
let's quickly talk about
yes.
what good happened on Raw, which is very little.
Ambrose happened.
I'm just gonna give it right here. Seth Rollins and the Shield promos were the only real saving graces of the show.
And Barrett versus Sheamus was
versus Sheamus was fine. I just wasn't really a big fan of Sheamus winning.
No, because
I
think Barrett's gonna defend
the IC title.
IC title at Money in the Bank, and I'm fine with that. Sheamus is a well-known quality in Money in the Bank matches. It's for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, so he's an ex-champion. So it makes sense to me that Sheamus would win.
I do agree with that. It does make sense, but for me, I just want to have the taste of new blood in this.
And you will have the taste.
And we do have two of them, but I just
the champion.
Absolutely, but we'll save that for the prediction shows.
Because I'll say this right off the bat: Orton doesn't win.
No chance.
That's what happens.
Sheamus doesn't win.
That's what happens when you just get put into a match without a qualifying match. It's like, we're just gonna put Randy Orton in there. I don't even remember.
Roman Reigns will find his way in, and he'll take himself out. He'll take himself and Randy Orton out of the match.
Okay.
That's it.
Before we continue, I just want to have, for the people who really don't know by now, and if you don't, what kind of wrestling fans are you? The reason we're talking about having future WWE World Heavyweight Champion at Money in the Bank in this match is because Daniel Bryan finally got officially stripped of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And I'm not meaning it finally like I don't like Daniel Bryan. I'm just meaning finally in the fact that there is no way he was going to be put in a match at Money in the Bank or any time before that, and they just was kind of milking. It's like, is potential going to be there? No. So it was just built up for nothing.
Here's the thing, okay? It was not official that he wasn't going to get cleared by the doctors until the day of.
Right.
Until the day of. There was still a chance that he could get cleared.
A very slim chance.
A very slim chance, but there was still a chance. So they still had to keep the option open. But when it got confirmed, officially confirmed, immediately they stripped him of the title, which is the right thing to do. Daniel Bryan will get his shot again at being the champion. But now it's time to move on.
I honestly just feel like he just had a surgery from something on his neck, something that could have been serious. I think that even the slim chances of it was like a hairstring slim chance that him actually having a match for me. Like, that was just still being pulled on the verge of snapping. I never saw the chance of him being in a match at Money in the Bank. I never saw it, so it was just because it was just clear as day to me. I mean, if you're going to have a surgery from something that injury that serious, there's no way you're coming back within a month. With John Cena, he just had with the little baseball in his elbow. That's one thing. He came back because he was very stubborn. It's like, I'm fighting the power
because he's John Cena.
Because he's John Cena.
Yeah.
I can't help it if WWE wants to put younger talent over. I have to come back and mess it all up.
Yeah, that's the one thing I can at least say about Daniel Bryan now. That I would have been a lot more angry about this if this happened this time last year. But at least at this point, we know that Daniel Bryan is over. He's got his time in the sun. This is not being done as part of a storyline where we're not sure if the WWE is going to pull the trigger on him. Daniel Bryan's already there. And just with I don't know what you guys' thoughts were with this. When he came back after WrestleMania and immediately started feuding with Kane, it just seemed, I got this feeling like they didn't know quite what to do with Daniel Bryan at this point. Or at least now that he's pretty much just getting mandatory time off to heal up, rest him up, recover, make sure his character is fresh again, so that by the time he comes back, he'll be fresh and ready to go again. Besides, after everything that happened with his wedding and his father and everything,
he needs it.
Dude deserves a break, period. So,
I could
wish you all the best, Daniel. Hope you get healthy. please come back soon when you're good and ready and refreshed, and I'll be watching it.
I do really have to ask, though, do they really still have to continue the B-plus player thing?
Of course.
It just seems...
Because there's the storyline when he comes back.
It just seems little... It ran its course. At least for the B-plus thing, if they just cut that whole little B-plus out, they just say, we hope you give him a speedy recovery as the heel tendency type thing, that would just basically be like, oh, there you go. But the fact that they have to really bring back that little... Oh, he's getting the B-plus injury whole thing. I'm like, okay, now you're just kind of milking it. Like trying to... squeeze the udder. See if there's any drops left of it.
As long as
it just doesn't work for me.
As long as he's the underdog, as long as he's the underdog in the feud with the Authority, Stephanie will always call him a B-plus player. Triple H probably shouldn't be calling him a B-plus player anymore because Daniel Bryan beat him clean. So
that's how I feel. The whole B-plus player thing should be gone in the first place. That's because
he needs to do something to Stephanie to get her to shut up. Stephanie will keep talking about the B-plus player thing until the end of time, until she gets something that's done to her. Triple H needs to shut up about it right now.
He beat her husband clean. That's something.
But he hasn't done anything to her.
Because he's a gentleman.
Yeah.
Because he's a gentleman, and just leave that for his poorly acting wife.
For now.
That's a whole other thing we don't need to get into right now.
All right, let's get back to the qualifying matches now.
Yes.
That was just a little sidetrack to fill in the people who don't pay attention.
Anyway,
what's wrong with you people?
Closing out, Sheamus.
I'm
not shocked that it went the way it did. He'll be fine in the capacity that he is.
And it was the match of the night for me.
It really was the match of the night. And then there was Cesaro versus RVD.
It was there.
It was a
storyline match. Yeah, it was a storyline match to get Cesaro in. RVD.
This could possibly have ended their whole Paul Heyman RVD feud.
RVD, hang it up, please.
Yeah,
you're embarrassing yourself at this point. Stop it.
At every single week, I keep forgetting that RVD is back, and I used to really love RVD, but with this current climate, I never thought I'd say this about RVD, but he's relatively forgettable. Because
they're not letting him, one thing, go on the mic, and this whole current run, his mic skills hasn't really been anything.
His mic skills have never really been good.
Well, during the invasion angle, he had something.
Yeah,
but now it's just he's cool.
He's just
because he has to make sure everyone reminds him. He has to remind everyone who he is with RVD, ending every sentence. Wow, I don't know why that was hard to say. Ending every sentence with RVD.
Yeah, it's just
okay.
Hang it up. It's getting embarrassing, dude.
I mean, I like you, RVD, but I keep needing to physically remind myself that RVD being around is a good thing. Why do I have to do that?
Well, he's reached the point where he'll just become he'll just be in that same spot with Kofi Kingston as the solid mid-carder for life until he's gone.
Yeah, he's always been good. It's just
he's already established himself. He doesn't need to do anything.
He's been doing the same spiel, shtick, whatever. All this. He's been doing the same for pretty much his entire career, and now we're getting bombarded with new So, yeah, I think RVD is just ultimately getting lost in the shuffle, and that's just really sad.
Here's the deal, okay? He tried to come in and do the Chris Jericho rule, okay?
That's it.
Put guys over for a short period of time, leave, and fine. But he doesn't have the skill anymore for that to work.
And you know what? You nailed it perfectly. I'm sorry, fool, but I didn't even think of that. You nailed it perfectly. They tried to put him in the Chris Jericho role, but the problem is Chris Jericho has both the wrestling ability and the charisma where they can just put him anywhere on the card with anybody, and it will be awesome.
And adding to that...
I never thought you nailed it perfectly. High five.
Adding to that, Chris Jericho has been more established as a main event star than RVD was for a longer period of time. He's been champ. He's beaten Triple H to win the title, even though it was just for that one night. He's been in main event spots. He's been put in those matches where people are still talking about it to this day. Unlike matches with RVD when he was in WWE, even when during the Alliance. Can you really think of a match that had RVD versus someone that's still talked about today?
RVD versus Jeff Hardy.
Exactly.
But
that's just for the Intercontinental title. I mean,
yeah.
But think about it when it's like for world titles. Think about it like for the big matches.
Cena versus him at a One Night Stand.
That's really it, and he really didn't do much. The main focus on that match is Edge spearing Cena, so RVD can get the 5-star for the win.
How about his feud with and even was this even for the title? Triple H versus RVD, and the only reason I remember that was it's like, dude, you can spit some water, bro. But that's really the only thing I remember, in that he actually did the spit thing, mocking him during their match. I think it was during SummerSlam or something. But
see, and that's the thing. RVD has like a small handful of moments, but Chris Jericho has he can have his own library of moments.
You mean like a highlight reel?
Oh god!
Yeah, you see, you got me. You see what I was hoping someone would get.
But really, it was. I'm glad you guys brought that up, because I'm watching all these RVD matches in the modern era. It's like, what, I should be enjoying this so much more. It's certainly not bad. Don't get me wrong.
It's not. It's slower than what I'm used to.
Yeah, it's not as hype as it should be. It's like I couldn't really put my finger on what was missing. I think you guys nailed it perfectly.
And I mean, it's the high flying stuff might have something to do with it, because Jericho doesn't really do that stuff all that much. He does the drop kicks and he does the lion salt, but RVD's all over the place. Okay, and maybe that has accumulated up as time has gone by, but he should know that. And just like if he's in this spot, if he's trying to come in and fulfill this role, okay, if he can't do it anymore to the best of his ability, then why is he here?
Because RVD is still money. It's just, I guess he's just not as much money as he once used to be.
As long as RVD stays out of the title pictures and just help put younger talent over, I'll be fine with that.
I can see RVD at most
like Chris Jericho,
part of a multi-man championship match like this. If he won, I could see it. He's obviously not going to win it, but
he could just
enough name where he can just
be put in there.
Right, exactly.
With Jericho, he can help be put in that title picture
and conceivably win
and help put the younger talent over. He has the chops to do it.
Yeah,
all of those. RVD simply does not.
Yeah, I can.
Don't choke on the dust.
Yeah, I can tell they were trying to do that with Cesaro, but it just, maybe it's just my personal taste, but it's RVD is still good. It just, RVD has not changed. He's just in a sea of new talent that we're getting in practically by the week at this point. RVD is just sort of high on RVD fingers and also thumbs,
backed with Jericho. Jericho has different etches to his character. He adds to his character. RVD has been the same since classic ECW days.
Yeah, but anyway.
Okay, now let's
go. We miss you, RVD. We need something new.
As long as Sandow and Fandango don't dance with the whatever you call it, the sheet. What is it called? The thing that he was twirling around? Why am I blank? Ribbon dancer. Ugh.
I've said all I have to say about Sandow in recent weeks. It's bad.
I only have one thing to say about Sandow. Sandow actually got "Let's Go Sandow" chants here.
Yes, he did. I was very happy with that.
So, what is this? Are people actually supporting Sandow because he's getting so many bad gimmicks? Are people rooting for him to get back on the comeback trail and actually do something?
Yes.
Or are people actually cheering for Damian Sandow, the comedy guy?
No, they're cheering for Sandow to come back on that track, because from everywhere I read, from the WWE YouTube page, when I see just like random clips of matches to basically recharge my brain of what's going on to prepare for this show, to just like wrestling websites. Everyone says they want Sandow to come back from whatever funk he's in. They want to see the one who had a 5-star match with Cena. They want that Sandow back.
Maybe that's what the WWE is trying to do.
Maybe they're just testing the audience patience and wanting to see like how much far can we go with this guy. And he still gets good. He still gets good crowd reactions. People are chanting for "Let's go Sandow," and when he was doing the stuff just to get heat, when he was dressed up as whatever basketball player he was last week or the week before with Big Show, he can get legit heat, and he's such a good talker on the mic. He knows what to say and how to say it to get the crowd either behind him or against him. That's what's sad. 'Cause don't choke on the dust here. Breathe.
Stop choking on the dust.
You okay?
It'll all be okay.
Okay.
He will live another day.
He will live another day. As long as he keeps the dust away.
I made the rhyme.
I made the funny.
Yeah.
But
hopefully Sandow's making the.
I just think this is just. I think this is just a test to be like he can do like whatever they throw at him. He can keep a happy face and actually make it work for him.
Something's gonna break. It has to.
Yeah, he'll reach that boiling point. As long as they don't have him be one of the new members of 3MB, I'll be good.
It better not.
I will laugh so hard.
I will cry. I will cry.
Just watch. That's going to happen this Monday on Raw.
What have you done?
Okay, let's get to the main focus of what Raw was about. Seth Rollins' explanation on why he left, and before that, the Shield sending a little message to Seth Rollins, and I'm going to leave it to you, Brian and Jeff. I'm going to have you guys go at it.
I win
with Dean Ambrose. What he said
showed the world why he is my favorite member of the Shield. This was basically a Jon Moxley promo done at WWE speed, executed perfectly. Ambrose literally drops the mic, and the entire crowd is just like
losing it.
The entire crowd loses it, and
I think it loses
him calmly telling Seth Rollins how he's going to rearrange his face in gory detail is just amazing, and something you wouldn't expect to hear on WWE television. Just like I'm gonna put your nose
where your ear
is. I say ear because you're only gonna have one left. And I'm gonna take your dirty, stinking hair and shove it down your throat, which will be easy enough where your teeth used to be. Oh. And I was just like sitting there mesmerized. Just like, I get it now.
Now you see what I see.
I mean, like, I've always loved Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, but now I can see him. I see why everyone is so up in arms with this guy.
Welcome to the club, Brian. Welcome to the club.
And what was even better, almost, was even after he literally drops the mic, you see Roman Reigns' face is like, dude, that was awesome. And then immediately afterwards, as soon as he picks up the mic, he's like, oh crap, I have to follow this now.
Leading him to forgetting his line for a good minute, a good 10 seconds.
You have done the most unforgivable sin. And then it's just like a couple minutes of just silence.
Silence, what was I going to say?
And then he walks, shaking his head to air quotes, get the water out. No, that's getting the line back and saying, you're the scum of the earth. Roman Reigns did fine,
which Dean Ambrose just said 2 minutes ago.
No, he said you're scum. He added of the earth. Roman Reigns did fine for what he had to say. What his line? I love the Game of Thrones reference, but to follow Dean Ambrose, no
one should ever do that in the modern era. Maybe bring back Foley or or Jericho, but then just average dude, maybe Bray Wyatt.
Promo off between.
I did like the Game of Thrones reference though.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Really, only Bray Wyatt
And
can even compete with Ambrose on that level. That's
it just.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not. And the Game of Thrones reference worked because the whole King of Kings. I was like, is Roman Reigns saying he's going to poison Triple H in the near future?
No, he's saying he's gonna behead him, and I'd be fine with that.
He's going to behead the King of Kings.
Just watch. God. If they actually do that, then WWE's stock is going to drop like 30 points. I don't even,
when it comes to the kids' channel.
Stocks, I don't even know that's a lot,
but they'll get viewers.
They'll get the views.
30%, I guess that would be a more accurate figure.
Yeah, and it just makes Seth Rollins' promo pale in comparison. That's another one that was fine.
Yeah, it was good.
It was a good. It gave a reason, but it's like when I was expecting more. You know what I mean? Like what he said was perfectly fine. It was how he said it. It was just like it was good promo. But after listening to Dean Ambrose, it's like I can't. You would think you would show some emotion to a guy who's calmly telling you how he's going to rip your face off, but
Dean Ambrose wins.
The one thing,
the end.
The one thing that definitely was hurting when it comes to the Seth Rollins promo. I mean, I really didn't have anything against his promo. I liked what he said, that since he was the architect of the Shield, he can choose when to destroy it whenever he can choose to destroy it whenever he wants, and he's adapting while they are perishing. I liked it. He was trying to keep his cool, trying to be sophisticated, if you will, and he's saying that the Shield is now nothing without him. A part of me wanted to see where they're going to go with something like that, but they kind of messed it up with showing with the match with Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt, and of course they had to throw Cena in there. As soon as they said they were going to have the handicap match, and they said, if you can find a third partner, I'm like, you're facing the Wyatt family. Yeah. You know you're going to choose John Cena. A part of me actually did want the Shield and John Cena to lose, just so they can try and keep this whole thing going of what Seth Rollins was saying was actually legit. It's now the Shield is has got weaker since he left, but it's that match with John Cena and the Wyatts. It just proved that what he's saying is kind of in void. They're still just as strong. So what's the point of him leaving?
Well, he's a heel, so that's kind of the point.
We'll get to what you're saying. I just want to get what I want to point out. If they want to build something up for this feud, if they want to treat Seth Rollins as a legit heel and saying that him turning his back on his brothers actually is a big deal, other than just getting them angry and showing that they're still just as dominant, I would have liked it at some point, while the feud is building for if they're going to have it at the pay-per-view, whatever match they're going to have. I want to see that Seth Rollins leaving the Shield did leave a mark on the Shield, other than just showing, they're still just as dominant without him.
If anything, I definitely see. I see what you're alluding to. So that tells me that their execution was off. I sort of picked up on what I think they were trying to do in Seth Rollins' promo when he said, this was just a business transaction. It's not my fault if they thought it was something more. Which I think they're trying to play off of how, not just what the characters, Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, think, but also what the fans think. Obviously, at this point, the fans, everyone loves the Shield now. The Shield are just awesome. I think everyone knows that. What I think they're alluding to, or what they're going for, was Rollins' apparent apathy towards what the Shield has become at this point, when everyone else, both in character and in the fans and WWE Universe, whatever you want to call them, what everyone else but what Seth Rollins' apparent perception of what the Shield is. Everyone loves the Shield. Even the Shield loves the Shield. Seth Rollins does not. And I think that's what that apparent discrepancy is what WWE is trying to go for. But really, like you point out, Fool, it was just, if that's what they were going for, it just was a little too subtle, and it just didn't really work as well in practice.
Because people love the Shield. They loved each person for their characteristics and how much of one unit that they were. How much, like what they were saying, there were three guys in Evolution, three separate guys with their own agendas in Evolution, yet as the Shield were one. Mm-hmm. They were all pointing that since the beginning. They were showing dominance. So it's like, oh, just because one person chooses to leave and turn their back on it, it's like, oh, they're still just as strong without it. I just feel like it should have started off with Seth Rollins' turn actually hurting the Shield and then slowly rebuilding, like Ambrose and Reigns rebuilding what Seth Rollins destroyed.
I have one theory about this. Obviously, this is all in the very beginnings of the feud. I've heard rumors about how this is going to go. I've heard, and just looking at the promo again, it really makes me almost believe that these are confirmed at this point. It's going to be Roman Reigns and Triple H, obviously, since the old Game of Thrones, whatever game, blah blah blah. That's going to start polishing him up for the main event. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose. It's got to be at this point Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
I think just knowing the way that these guys can go, I think it's definitely going to highlight more so for Seth Rollins that he can still go and really give him a whole bunch of momentum. And Dean Ambrose, after that promo, he's pretty much untouchable. He's going to be... Everyone loves Dean Ambrose.
Hell, just even from the promos, from what they were even hinting at that. I mean, Dean Ambrose was talking about Seth Rollins' betrayal. That's all he really talked about. But when you come to Roman Reigns, he started off talking about Seth Rollins, and then he started talking about taking out Randy Orton, and then he said he was going after Triple H. So yeah, that's obviously where they're going with that.
Which is why my thoughts are that Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose will happen at Money in the Bank. And Roman Reigns will enter the Money in the Bank match because Randy Orton is in the Money in the Bank match. Mm-hmm. They'll take each other out. Then it's a July pay-per-view. You'll have the rematch, Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, and you'll have Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns in a one-on-one. Then at SummerSlam, that's when you have Reigns versus Triple H to groom him for the main event, and whatever happens between Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose happens. If Seth Rollins really wants to get into his heel character, okay, now that he's donned the suit, dye his hair completely black. Get rid of the blonde.
I don't think that... I see what you're going for, but I don't think it'll work. Just because I can see it working more with what happened with Dolph Ziggler when he dyed his hair back. It didn't really give him any heat. It just removed any distinguishing characteristics from him. Seth Rollins, his hair is one of his most dynamic, one of his biggest traits that stand out the most.
Then cut his hair.
If that would be
and trim up his beard to make it look like he can be.
That'll work.
An evolution-looking
maybe
character.
Maybe trim up his beard a little bit, but keep the hair. Maybe keep it in a ponytail, but leave it like that. I don't think he should deviate too much from the look he's already got going for himself.
That's the Shield look. That's the one difference.
No,
it's more
when
of
I think of the Shield, they can just easily just take off the fatigues and put him in trunks again. He's got the physique where he can pull it off. Just lose the Merc gear, lose the black, vest, and hell, you can just get rid of the black vest. Just lose that, and he'll be fine. Personally, I think he should go back to the trunks. I think he can pull that off. Everything else, he doesn't really need much more than that in my eyes. But again, the next month between the pay-per-view, the match we get out of that, just maybe the week after. The next month is what's really going to cement Seth Rollins' future and where it's going to go from here.
The one difference I can really say with what you're saying, just keep his look. The one difference is with his beard and long hair that I still have to say it was more of his Shield look, him being the hound of justice, being the scruffy, unstoppable force. But now if he's in Evolution, and he's part of the Authority, he wants to be looking like someone who can represent the company.
Right.
Which I say, trim his beard, make it look nicer, maybe The one difference when Triple
less
H,
scruff.
yeah, so less scruff. The one difference when Triple H, back in the day, the original run of Evolution, he had the long flowing hair, but it was the flowing hair was like, I'm pulling now a Shrek reference, the Prince Charming hair, where he could just swing it back, and it's just like, oh, it's so beautiful. Seth Rollins never really
more noticed amount of a product in that.
Yeah, exactly.
That I can see. Just don't lose the streak, otherwise you'll lose.
Oh, keep the streak, keep the little streak, but just cut the hair maybe down to ear length, trim it up. So now it looks like he can represent the company.
Now I got you. Okay.
That's the only real thing.
Just don't dye it permanently. That would be a little too much.
Which is one thing I definitely like is what happened on SmackDown with Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt in the Money in the Bank qualifying match.
That was beautiful.
With Seth Rollins actually distracting Dean Ambrose to Bray Wyatt's. I love how he just throws in the Sister Abigail as soon as Dean Ambrose ran into the ring.
Perfect. Loved it.
Perfect indeed. And it just keeps it going. I wish it would have started with something like that, showing that maybe not with fully mind games, just the reaction. With Monday, they're so angry at Seth Rollins' betrayal that it actually does cost them, and then have Seth Rollins comes out and applaud them, good try,
but
and then start pulling the heel thing, which they did on SmackDown with Seth Rollins distracting Dean Ambrose, preventing him from being in the ladder match, keep the feud going. I like what they did on SmackDown. It's him costing them without really doing anything, just having their egos you betrayed me, that type of ordeal.
For the stage of the feud that was, this was
it helped. It helped.
And in the 6-man main event with the Shield and John Cena versus the Wyatts, I was worried that John Cena would get the pinfall because that was when he came in and did the hot tag and whatever. I was like, okay, this is it. But I forgot that Roman Reigns hadn't been in the match yet. So I'm glad that if they did go over, that
it wasn't Cena.
One of the Shield got the pin clean.
And who was it that got pinned? Wasn't it
Luke Harper?
Okay,
got pinned
because you don't want to hurt Bray Wyatt,
right? Mm-hmm. Luke.
And you don't want Rowan to be the sole punching bag, even though
Rowan got taken out on the outside. Bray Wyatt hit John Cena with the Sister Abigail.
And then the Superman punch.
Bray Wyatt got hit by the Superman punch. Dean Ambrose did the flying through the ropes bit dealy onto Rowan.
And then
to take him out, and then Harper and Reigns went at it for a little bit before Reigns got the spear. And I'm happy that if anyone had to win that match, it had to be Reigns or Ambrose. If that was who they wanted to be the winning team.
Yeah, I'll give you that. All right, well, I think that's. What would you give Raw then? Since we're still talking about, what would you give it as a facial hair rating?
Basic goatee, 2 out of 5.
No, 2 out of 5 is Peach Fuzz. Classic goatee is 3 out of 5.
Okay, Peach Fuzz then, 2 out of 5. Blarg.
You know what? I had a little bit more fun watching this than you guys did because, first of all, the promo. I loved
the promo.
Sheamus versus Barrett.
This Raw was pretty much the promo.
Yeah. In my eyes, I liked Sheamus. I loved Sheamus versus Barrett. I was okay with Cesaro versus RVD, and I was good. And the main event for me was a great match. I'll go classic goatee.
I can see that. I don't agree, but I see it.
I'll barely on the cusp of Peach Fuzz, but I'll go ahead and give it the classic goatee because I know that what's coming next will negate everything that I just said.
I really don't have anything to negate other than I would have preferred Barrett to win, just like I said, to have this Money in the Bank be more fresh meat than someone who's already been established. Which I love to have seen Barrett and Cesaro and Bray. And then have the people who and from what you're saying, it could possibly be Roman Reigns. I would like to see them pull a little twist of Roman Reigns versus John Cena for the final spot. That would have been interesting. That would be an interesting twist. I could see the Authority trying to pull it. It's oh, you think you can help? Cena, you've been helping. You've been interfering with our affairs. So now we're gonna have something on you. You're gonna have to face one of your friends in Roman Reigns for the spot.
Well, what if they give Dean Ambrose another shot, but he has to face Roman Reigns?
That would be interesting.
An interesting twist. I think it's a little.
It's too early.
It's a little too early for any of those things, in my opinion. But when they do decide to pull the trigger, which they should, it'll be amazing. I just don't think it's right now.
Well, if you want to see Roman Reigns in the Money in the Bank, who would you see him face then? If it's too soon,
I would think
this is for both of
Randy
you.
Orton.
Well, Orton's already in.
Orton's already in. I'd say that it's not too soon.
Double up
for John Cena. I'd say that it's not too soon for that, because it's like, what you said, John Cena, you interfered in our affairs.
You have interfered with our affairs for the last time.
So John Cena asks for a match to get into the Money in the Bank match. And then it's like, okay, we'll kill two birds with one stone. You've been interfering in our affairs, and we want to get rid of Roman Reigns. So we'll do John Cena versus Roman Reigns. If you win, you get what you want. If you don't get what you want, and Roman Reigns gets in.
So possibly, like, if John Cena's out of the Money in the Bank, who would he face at Money in the Bank? Probably Triple H.
I guess, in honesty, it's a
because he's been
match. I don't even care.
because he's
Whatever
been
he does,
like
it'll be
at first he came in talking about Daniel
Cena
Bryan
can
to
have the
Stephanie.
night off. Cena can face Kane.
Maybe there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But no,
it's Cena.
I love Kane to death. I love Kane to death.
They didn't finish
but
that story off. So
yeah,
Yeah, they really didn't.
It's not continuing the hate. It's just like, Kane's back to being the dominant monster, yet Cena somehow survived because he threw the stairs at Kane on his hip or forearm, or nothing to the effect of being throwing it at Bray Wyatt in the Last Man Standing match.
That's my one and only thought when I saw that.
but he gets hit in the face.
Yep, you're not Bray Wyatt.
You don't take it dead in the face like a man.
Well, the one difference is John Cena.
Boom!
John Cena threw it from outside the ring. He threw it on the Kane, right next to him. So he gave Kane no space, or gave him no space to try and throw it at Kane's upper body area. But I could see it being Kane if they want to keep it going. Keep challenging the authority, which is what Cena's been doing. Interfering with the authority.
Something to do.
Yeah.
Just so we can have a Cena match and a Kane match on the card.
All right.
And so we don't have a Cena versus Wyatt match on the card again. I could not see those two wrestle on a pay-per-view for a long time.
All right, I think we filled enough for all this for one show.
This is probably going to be one of our longest shows.
Oh well, we have the power.
We had fun discussing the releases this week.
A little too much fun, if you ask me.
Hey, at least they were
released with some of them.
At least they were able to use this in their parting moments, I guess.
So, to all the 10 superstars that have been released, moment of silence. All right, moment gone.
Leave the memories alone.
All right, Fool, you want to throw in some cheap plugs?
Yes, this is getting easier all the time. If you enjoyed this conversation, like this video. If you enjoyed it and you wish to see more in your face and on your feed on YouTube, don't be shy to subscribe for more entertainment. It's free. And of course, like us on Facebook. Just track down the Scholars of Wrestling show. We're there. Free stuff on your news feed. That's not something from BuzzFeed or something asking you what color paint you feel like. And that's it.
And
thank you for listening.
Feel free to comment on what we've been saying throughout this show. We
Tell
like
me
to
how
hear
much I suck.
Yeah, how much he sucks. How much he sucks. How much I'm not wrong.
He's always wrong. You just don't know.
You're
always wrong. You know what you're going to be when you grow up? Wrong.
You know what? You know what you're going to be when the show's over? Wrong.
You know what I'm gonna be? I'm gonna be a scholar of wrestling.
You're gonna be a failure turtle.
I like turtles. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
I'm gonna be wrong.
Wrong.
I've gotta go home. I'm gonna go be wrong. I've gotta go be wrong.